Still alive. Voyager's 2023 rescue and the final countdown. In November 2023, something went wrong with Voyager 1. 24 billion kilometers from Earth, further away than any human-made object in history. The spacecraft started sending back gibberish. Not silence, not a normal signal. Scrambled, meaningless data that made no sense. The scientists at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California were baffled. Was Voyager broken? Was it about to go silent forever? What followed was one of the most extraordinary repair jobs in history, fixing a computer chip on a spacecraft launched in 1997 from 24 billion kilometers away, with each message taking 22.5 hours to arrive and 22.5 hours to come back. What is interstellar space? Before we get to the rescue, let's understand where Voyager actually is. Our solar system is surrounded by a giant bubble of particles and magnetic fields blowing out from the sun. Scientists call this the heliosphere. Beyond that bubble is interstellar space, the space between the stars. It's so empty that if you took all the thin gas floating there and squeezed it together, it would barely fill a few grains of sand. Voyager 1 crossed into interstellar space in 2012. Voyager 2 crossed it in 2018. No other spacecraft has ever been there, and that makes Voyager irreplaceable. Right now, it's the only human-made device actively collecting and sending back data about the interstellar medium, the thin gas, magnetic fields, and particles that drift between the stars. No other machine in existence can tell us what it is actually like out there. The 2023 crisis. Something is sending gibberish. On Earth, when your phone freezes, you restarted it. When something goes wrong, there's usually a quick fix nearby. But Voyager 1 isn't nearby. When scientists noticed the garbled data in late 2023, every time they sent a question to Voyager, they had to wait 45 hours for the round-trip reply. That's almost 2 full days per one question. They traced the problem to one of the spacecraft's free onboard computers, called the Flight Data System. One section of its memory chip had been corrupted, scrambling all the data before it was sent back to Earth. But here's what made it even harder. Voyager 1 was built in the 1970s. The engineers who designed it, many of them had retired or passed away. The documentation was stored on paper in filing cabinets from nearly 50 years ago. The current team had to pull out those old files and read through those decades-old circuit diagrams, trying to understand a computer design that predates the invention of the actual computer. The fix? Patience, creativity, and old paper files. After months of investigation, the team figured out what had happened. A single chip in the flight data system's memory had failed. The fix? Moved the code to a different part of the memory, a part that still worked. But there was another problem. The working memory sections were way too small. The corrupted code couldn't fit in any single location. So the engineers did something extraordinary. They split the code into pieces and stored each piece in a different section of the memory, then wrote new code to stitch all the pieces back together when needed. Imagine taking the pages of a book, cutting each chapter into pieces, hiding the pieces in different rooms across a building, and then writing a set of directions that tell the reader exactly where to find each piece and in what order to read them. They uploaded the fix and waited 22.5 hours for the signal to arrive. Then they waited 22.5 hours for the reply to come back. It worked. In April 2024, Voyager 1 sent back readable science data for the first time in 5 months. The team in California cheered. One of the oldest active spacecraft in history had been saved. from 24 billion kilometers away. And the good news kept coming. By June 2024, NASA confirmed that all 4 of Voyager 1's science instruments had been fully restored to normal operation. Not just the data system, but every single one. A complete recovery that the team hadn't dared to hope for when the crisis began. The final countdown. Voyager 1 and 2 run on nuclear power, specifically a generator that produces electricity from the heat of slowly decaying plutonium. When Voyager launched in 1977, these generators produced 470 watts of power, roughly the same as 4 or 5 bright light bulbs. Every year, the plutonium decays a little more and the power drops by about 4 watts. By 2025, both probes are producing roughly 240-260 watts, just over half of what they started with. Engineers have been managing this carefully, turning off instruments one by one to preserve power for the most critical science. Voyager 1 will likely to shut down its last science instrument somewhere between 2025 and 2030. After that, both probes will keep flying forever, but they will be completely silent. They'll drift through interstellar space for millions of years, alone and quiet, carrying their golden records. After Voyager, decades of silence. When Voyager finally goes quiet, something important will happen. Humanity will have no functioning spacecraft in interstellar space. And we won't have one again for a very long time. There is currently no approved funded mission to send a new probe into interstellar space. Scientists at NASA have proposed something called the Interstellar probe, a spacecraft that could use the sun's gravity as a slingshot and reach the edge of the solar system in about 15 years. But as of 2025, this project hasn't been approved or given funding. The spacecraft New Horizons, which flew past Pluto in 2015, is currently drifting through the Kuiper Belt, the region of icy objects beyond Neptune. It will eventually reach interstellar space, but it will run out of power before getting there. So when Voyager 1 finally falls silent, we won't have any eyes at the edge of the solar system. No signal from interstellar space. No signal from beyond. These 2 probes launched in 1977 when there were no personal computers, no internet, no smartphones, and still only our direct connection to the space between the stars. Are still our only direct connection to the space between the stars. They were built to last a few years, but they have lasted nearly 50. And right now, they're still out there flying silently through the dark, sending home science data. We're living through their final years. If you were in charge of NASA, what would you name the next spacecraft to reach interstellar space? And what would you put on its message to the universe? Let us know in the comments.